News. Quinnen Williams, the defensive tackle who went the pick after Nick Bosa in 2019, has been paid by the New York Jets. 4 years, $96 million. That comes out to $24 million per year. And I don't think it really crystallizes the Nick Bosa situation any more than it was crystallized, but it adds another data point as we wait for Nick Bosa to sign with the 49ers. So I'm going to spend the next few minutes talking about the defensive line market, how this Quinnen Williams situation might impact the Nick Bosa situation. And we're going to be taking a look at some of the numbers at the top of both the edge rusher and the defensive tackle market to help us draw parameters for Nick Bosa's eventual new contract with the 49ers. Deadline pressure is the name of the game. Nick Bosa has no reason to hurry right now because since Quinnen Williams has signed before him, the defensive tackle market has gotten all the more lucrative, and you'll see that the DT market and Nick Bosa's edge rusher market will have an inherent link between the two. They're all defensive linemen, and because Aaron Donald's making so much money and Nick Bosa is scheduled to be at the top of at least the edge rusher market, it's that there's going to be a link between the highest contracts here. I'll explain right now. So anyway, Williams, 4 years, $96 million with the Jets. Right now, here you now see the top defensive tackle contracts as far as average per year. Aaron Donald remains number one. I said he's making a ton of money. Look how far ahead of everyone else Aaron Donald's at, $31.7 million. Quinnen Williams edged out Jeffrey Simmons, $24 million over. I think Simmons is actually $23.5 million. Might be a typo. I should probably hop in there and fix that. The Simmons for the Titans, I mean, that guy's a monster. 49ers played him a couple years ago. And I think that Quinnen Williams was in the business of edging out Jeffrey Simmons. So I'm going to fix that right now on my Twitter while I still have the 30-minute window to do so. All right, we fixed it. It's not going to be fixed on the screen just yet. Just consider Jeffrey Simmons to be at $23.5 million. Dexter Lawrence, $22.5. Deron Payne, $22.5. And then I added Hargrave and Buckner tied for sixth with Leonard Williams at $21 million because I think 49ers fans are interested in where Javon Hargrave and their former player DeForest Buckner rank in the grand scheme of things. Well, they're $10 million plus less than Aaron Donald, but just outside of the top five. So Williams is at $24 million average per year. Then have a look at this. These are the top edge rushers. TJ Watt is at the top, $28 million. Joey Bosa, $27. Myles Garrett, $25. Khalil Mack, $23.5. And Max Crosby, $23.5. So you can see that in general, on average, edge rushers make more than the top defensive tackles. But then you have Aaron Donald, the massive outlier. Even though defensive tackles on average make less than edge rushers, Aaron Donald makes more than every single edge rusher in the game and obviously more than every single defensive tackle. So the question is, will Nick Bosa's number surpass Aaron Donald's? Again, this is Donald's number, $31.7 million. Here are the edge rushers. Nick Bosa is a reigning defensive player of the year, so we expect him to be number one, at least among the edge rushers. For a while, I've been predicting that Bosa would hit $30 million per year annually, but Aaron Donald is above even that at $31.7 million per year annually. What Quinnen Williams deal, this new 4-year, $96 million deal does is it strengthens the defensive tackle numbers, right? You've got $24 million instead of Simmons, who was number two at $23.5 before. So it knocks everybody down a peg. And it does add some strength to the Donald number, but Donald is still an outlier. Once you get somebody near $30 million at defensive tackle, that might take a few years, then Donald's number won't be as much of an outlier. But right now, for the purpose of contract negotiations, agents can still argue, well, that's Aaron Donald. We should base our negotiations on everybody else's. And I think that's what happened in the case of Quinnen Williams. His number was based on the number of Simmons, the number of Lawrence, Payne, Hargrave, Buckner, those guys. It wasn't based on the number of Aaron Donald. In the case of Nick Bosa, well, his number, I think definitely in one part, at least on the lower end, is going to be based on the number of TJ Watt and of his brother Joey Bosa at 28 and 27 million. But the big question is for Nick Bosa, how much will Donald's number factor into things? He has a much higher chance of having Aaron Donald's number factor into the discussion than Quinnen Williams did, because Bosa naturally is going to be up around 30 million. He's not going to naturally be down under 25 million. He's going to naturally be much closer to Aaron Donald's number. Personally, I made a prediction for what Nick Bosa's contract might look like, and it is in this piece right here. Link is going to be in the description section as soon as I'm done with this. What might Nick Bosa's new contract look like? And we can go down to the little graphic that I had. Here it is. I think that they're going to use a double bonus mechanism. They could even use a triple bonus mechanism, spread the cap hit out. I actually predicted Nick Bosa to be at about 31.8 million per year, which would slightly edge out Aaron Donald. I think that would be a vanity thing. I don't know if Nick Bosa and his agent are going to want that, or maybe they're going to want more guaranteed money. If you go to Aaron Donald's contract, he is actually making less fully guaranteed money because his deal was only a 3-year extension, wasn't one of these 5-year extensions. So at the end of the day, it depends on how much the vanity issues of the average per year are going to matter to Nick Bosa. But the pick after him, Quinnen Williams, just signed with the New York Jets. So Williams gets his money first. Bosa is expected as deadline pressure, which will come right around the start of training camp, which is about 12 days away right now. The 49ers have not been happy that they have to deal with this deadline pressure, but it's how Brian Arolt, who's Nick Bosa's agent, operates. He also represented and still represents Joey Bosa, who re-signed with the Chargers in 2020. When Bosa re-signed with the Chargers, he waited until the very start of training camp, really set that deadline in motion to get the team to give as many concessions as possible. I think that the same can be expected for Nick Bosa, and John Lynch even said this back in February. He thought the deadline pressure would spur action. He's then repeated that multiple times. It's just the nature of dealing with Brian Arolt, Nick Bosa's representation, and that means that we should have a pretty frenetic first few days of training camp as this deal presumably gets hammered out. But the 49ers are willing to pay Nick. They should be willing to pay Nick. He's one of the most transformative defensive players in the game. And that's how this new Quinnen Williams deal affects him. Shouldn't all too much, but that market is getting stronger and stronger in the general D-line. And for the first time in quite some time, maybe ever, we have D-tackle and D-end market crossover here because Aaron Donald is making so much damn money. So my question is, will Nick Bosa's number surpass Aaron Donald's? Maybe I should add a question mark to that. Sorry. Grammatical errors all over the place. Facepalm. There it is. Question marks on there. Everybody, like the video, sub to the channel, and take care.